This is Penny Keener, Stampin' Up! Independent Demonstrator and the original KeenerINKer. Today we're going to be making a Happy Haunting card. We're going to be using the Celebration Tidings bundle, which is the Celebration Tidings stamp set, as well as the Celebration Labels dies. We're also going to be using the Tasteful Label dies and the Cobweb 3D embossing folder. Colors for cardstock is going to be Blackberry Bliss and Whisper White. And for inks, we're using Blackberry Bliss, Classic Stampin' Pad, Stampin' Write Marker, and Stampin' Blend. The cardstock we're going to start with is a half a sheet, so 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And I'll go ahead and fold that, use my bone folder to get that nice crease, and set that aside. Then the Whisper White cardstock is 4 by 5 1/4. We're going to emboss the front of the card, so I'm going to open this back up, and since I have that nice crease, I know where I want the embossing folder to go. So I'm going to open this up and put it right along the line. I want the spider web sticking up, so in order to have that happen, I have my Stampin' Up! Label facing me. So I have it in there, and it is straight, and to get it to go through my embossing machine, obviously I can't feed it through this way, so I'm going to put it through the long ways. I'm using plate 1 and plate 4 to run it through, and plate 4 is the one you use when you have a 3D embossing folder. So I'm going to crank that through. And the front of my card now is a web design, which I think is absolutely great for a Halloween card. So I'm going to fold that again and put that aside to assemble later. Then to stamp the inside of our card, I'm going to use the Stamparatus. Here's my Whisper White cardstock. So when you're using the Stamparatus, it really doesn't matter when you're doing several layers which one you do first. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the spider, since that's the one I have down right now. And when I'm using the Stamparatus, I love using ink spots to ink it instead of the big pads, because you don't end up getting ink everywhere. So this is the Memento Tuxedo Black Memento ink that I've just done on one of our uninked pads. So I'm going to ink him up good and stamp it. I'm going to flip it around. And then for the spider web, I'm going to use the Blackberry Bliss. We do have an assorted pack of ink spots that you can purchase. You can also get them in the paper pumpkins if you subscribe to that, or you can get the uninked ones and have whatever color you want with the reinkers. All right, so do you see there where it didn't quite get it all the way? No problem. I'm going to go ahead and just make sure that was evenly inked and then push it down again. That is one of the beautiful things about the Stamparatus, is it lines up beautifully every time. So I'm going to set this aside. And to clean the Stamparatus, what I've done is I've taken one of our chamois. This is our Simply Chamois, and I've just actually cut it in half so that it's easier to use on the surface. So that is clean, so it won't be adding ink everywhere. Now I do want to draw a line down from my web to my spider. So I'm just going to use a piece of cardstock to get my straight line. Unless you can draw a straight line on your own, this is an easy way of doing it. Okay, now I actually have a web attaching the spider to there. So I'm going to add that to the inside of my card, and I'm going to use that with my Stampin' Seal. And when I do a layering piece, most of the time I make it a 1/4 inch smaller so that you have 1/8 of an inch of a border all the way around. Then the front of my card, this is the label die that I've already punched out. Actually die cut, it's not a punch. So I'm going to stamp Happy Haunting. A lot of times I'll actually stamp it first and then die cut it, but in this case I went ahead and die cut it, and with the photopolymer you can see right through it to get that lined up straight. I'm going to use 2 dimensionals to add that to the front of my card. Where it says Happy Haunting. And then I've already stamped and die cut one of my little spiders. And I put a Stampin' Dimensional on the back of that as well. I'm going to add that to the front of my card. And to add just a little bit of bling, this is our basic rhinestones. And with the Stampin' Blends, you can actually color the rhinestones so that it is not just clear. You can also color our epoxy dots and our basic pearls. So you can have lots of different color opportunities with the Stampin' Blends. So here's my final card. It says Happy Haunting. It has my little spider on the front with a little bit of bling. And then on the inside, my little spider dropping down. So what animals are the most computer literate? Spiders. They practically live on the web. Please check out my website and subscribe to my channel for quick videos on how you can be a KeenerINKer too.